Good morning, my class. How are you today? Are you okay? Now, as usual, we are going to continue with biology by discussing on this 14th unit. The 14th unit is talking about the support and the locomotion. Support and locomotion. We start by locomotion and its requirements. When saying locomotion, what do we understanding? By first, we know the locomotion is only happening in living organisms. All living organisms, particularly animals, need to move from one place to another. It is what you call locomotion. To locomote means to leave from one place to another, just to change the position. This is known as locomotion, which should not be confused with movement, which occur in plant. We know the locomotion means to change the position from one place to another. While the movement means the one happening in a plant, where a movement here is the displacement of the parts of an organism, the displacement of the parts of an organism, where those moving by vibration, but locomotion is the movement by changing the position from one place to another. Therefore, the movement is a characteristic of all living things. We know this is understandable. The locomotion is movement, and there is particularly a movement taken in a plant where they move their parts, while the locomotion in animals is to move from one place to another. Locomotion in animals is brought about by the action of muscles on a skeleton. Okay, it is brought about by the action of the muscles on the skeleton. A skeleton is a rigid framework that maintains shape and support the internal organs and provide attachment for muscles. I'm repeating. Locomotion in animals is brought about by the action of muscles on a skeleton. Then what is a skeleton? A skeleton is a rigid framework that maintains shape and supports the internal organs and provide attachment for muscles. While a muscle is a soft tissue formed by a muscle cells, which found in most animals. We have a skeleton and we have a muscle. Those are two differences. Actins, and each muscle cell contains, one can act himself or herself, myosin. Those are proteins that produce a contraction that changes both the length and the shape of the cell. We have each muscle contains actins and myosin, which changing the length and the shape of the cell by contraction. Thus, muscles function to produce force and motion. Yes, when the muscles function producing force and motion. In animals without muscles, such as sea sponges, locomotion is brought by mesophiles, cells, or cells which act as actual muscles. Yes, they have the mesophil cells which acting as actual muscles because they do not have the proper muscles. You see, those sea sponges also can make movement by the mesophils. Mesophil cells acting as the muscles. Depending on the type of animals, 3 types of secretons are distinguished. There are 3 types of secreton, but all exist depending on the type of animal or depending on the type of animals. The first one is hydrostatic secreton. Second is exosecreton, and the third one is endosecreton. There are 3 different types. The first one, hydrostatic secreton, it is mostly seen in invertebrate and earthworm. This consists of fluid-filled body cavity surrounded by antagonistic sets of muscles. Yes, you have the antagonistic sets. When saying something antagonistic to something which are like in opposite sets of muscles, where some passing through this side, others through the other side. The movement of those organisms results from comprehensive contraction. Action of the contraction of these muscles on these fluids. You see, as it is like a cavity, it's like a tube. The tube containing the muscles from one side to another side, where they have something like a center, some moving towards left, others moving towards the left, but making a tube. Left to right, or right to left, and then making a tube. So their movement results from the comprehensive contraction action of the contraction of these muscles on this fluid. Yes, the cavity fulfilled with the fluid, and then they have the comprehensive contraction action, which is made by the muscles surrounding the other fluid. It is how those hydrostatic secreton perform their movement. Now we are having exosecreton. The exosecreton ones, it characterizes the arthropod insects. Secreton characterizes the arthropod insects. It is cuticle. It is a hard cuticle made of chitins, which lies outside the muscles. It sheds during molting when the organism outgrows it. It does not grow because it is a dead material. You see, those with skeleton also can perform their movement, where those are found in arthropod insects, where they have a hard cuticle which is made of chitins, and those lies outside the muscles. It said exoskeleton because the bones, something like bones, observed outside the muscles. And we say those shades during molting, they seem as shading during molting when in motility. When organism outgrows, and we are seeing also it does not grow because it is a dead material. When it is not dead, it means it can grow day to day. But those are made of dead materials or made of dead cells, which cannot growing. We have also endoskeleton. The endoskeleton is seen in vertebrates, where the bones and the cartilages are found within the interior of the body, on which muscles are attached. You see, like the other scene, they have the muscles. But an exception, in endoskeleton, the muscles are found inside. No, I'm sorry. In exoskeleton, the hydrostatic, they have the fluids. Then in endoskeleton, they have the cartilages, and then the muscles are covering the bones and the cartilages, which means the muscles are outside of those and attached on the bones, attached on the cartilages, but outside. The bones are covered, cartilages are covered by the muscles. It is a living tissue and it grows with the rest of the body. You see, there we have seen in exoskeleton those made of dead cells. It is a dead material. But when we are in endoskeleton, we are seeing the bones and the cartilages are living tissues which grows time and time with the rest of the body. As the body grows, as the bones and cartilages grows. For efficient locomotion, and exoskeleton provides a system of levers to which muscles are attached. Yes, they have the parts where the muscles are attached. They attach on the bones. They attach on the cartilages for endoskeletons, where the bone are attached for efficient locomotion. Here, after this, as one can generating the question and as I'm generating the answer, but let us discussing about the types of locomotion. The types of locomotion. Here, the locomotion also can be either terrestrial, aerial, or aquatic, which means 3 types of locomotion. Aquatic locomotion just means swimming, those moving in water. And aerial locomotion, those like flying, those moving in atmosphere, flying or flying. Those terrestrial ones are those moving on us, like we move every day and every time. In most animals, the locomotion is by running, by climbing, by crawling, by swimming, by jumping, by grinding, by hopping, by flying with aid of limbs or appendages. When animals performing those movements, saying learning by feet or limbs. We know the limbs or appendages. The limbs are feet and the arms. limbs combining the feet and the legs and the arms. Combining the legs and the arms. So we run by legs using the feet. Climbing, we climb the tree. There are some organisms that climbing the tree. When climbing the tree, they use the legs and the arms. The others crawling. To crawl is the movement where they make an undulation movement, like the one of the snakes on us. You will know the snakes crawl on us, but even a human being can crawl using their body parts. Their limbs even intervene in crawling. The limbs intervene in the crawling. We have those which swims in water. Those swim in water like fishes in water, move by swimming. Others can jump using their limbs also. Jump like when looking at a pig, a rabbit. Let's having a rabbit. A rabbit can jump. They are jumping, others hopping and flying. The flying ones we know, like birds. Birds also can fly. All those ones have the help of the limbs and the appendages. For example, animals with the limbs, such as snakes. Animals without limbs, such as snake. Its locomotion is forming in body into zigzag, gripping the ground with its underside and pushing itself forward. That's said to be it is there. Zigzag can be performed slow crawling. It's something like crawling. For ducks, their movement is in water is by floating. The ducks can float on water. Yes, ducks, can float on water. Some invertebrate like worms, round worms, flatworms, squads, octopus, and jellyfish without special organs of locomotion are propelled by the muscular contraction. You see, those are the other animals like roundworms or flatworms, squids and octopus or jellyfishes without the special organs for locomotion. They do not have the fixed parts for locomotion, where they propelled by the muscular contraction. They contract and then changing the position from one place to another. Thus, understandable, it is easier to observe the figures for those animals. We know them, but better to revise and knowing them properly. The advantages of locomotion. Locomotion is here. Based on the type of locomotion mentioned above, an animal is capable to escape dangers. We see the role of the locomotion. We have seen the locomotion is a movement of changing place from one or changing position from one place to another. So when an organism changing position, it can escape the predators, or fire. In the case of it can change the position. In escaping, look for food. Organisms or animals can change position by looking for food, looking for water, and looking for shelters, where they move from one position to another for sleeping, for drinking something, if it is time for water, for eating, if it is time for food. The others may changing the position by to reproduce. Maybe for mating, maybe when the time of reproducing is taken, there are some animals that needing the position for their reproduction. It is. But even for mating also can happen. Some animals can leave some place to another for searching the partners in mating. Another one, there is another advantage. Avoiding competition with other animals of the same or different species. It means what? When the competition increases, it is not easy to survive together, because one which is less competitive can die, and then can change a position to leave those which are highly competitive to continue their life there. And then avoiding overcrowding offsprings to move to another place. You see, overcrowding, when there are many in the similar position, they need to move. If they are occupying the same position and they are which leading to the competition also, some can move from one place to another, and some organisms, some animals can leave the place to allow their offspring to be free for movement, where they will not be disturbed, where they will be free, even for food, for everything they need in their life. Avoiding unfavorable conditions. Just this combines all those we said. It is for finding favorable conditions where they grow well, where they get the food easily, they get water easily, where they get shelters freely, where no predators, where no high competition, where finding the reproduction fully, and where they can move, where there is no overcrowding. It is that we are meaning there with the favorable conditions. Yes, it is they move for avoiding unfavorable conditions. I think you have understood more. So now one can comment or asking the questions if possible, and then I'm coming back very soon. Thank you, my friends.